As this conflict between Russia and Georgia escalated over the past week, foreign policy took center stage in the U.S. presidential race as well. One person often mentioned as a potential vice presidential pick for Senator Barack Obama is the governor of New Mexico, Bill Richardson. He's joining us now live from Santa Fe. Governor, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I'm going to play for you a soundbite of what Senator McCain said earlier in the week in terms of what's going on right now. Listen to this.
Russian President Medvedev and Prime Minister Putin must understand the severe long-term negative consequences that their government's actions will have for Russia's relationship with the United States and Europe.
All right, what do you say? Because he's taken a very, very hard line from day one in this dispute.
Well, my response is that he is correct. There should be consequences for what Russia has done. We should stand with Georgia and their territorial sovereignty. But the issue is, what levers do we have over Russia? My view is that because of our intensive preoccupation with Iraq, we've neglected a relationship with Russia. It is at an all-time low, and we need leverage over Russia. Russia right now, for instance, wants to join the World Trade Organization. It wants a security and trade pact with Europe. Needless to say, those need to be put on hold. But what we need is an aggressive engagement relationship with Russia with a lot of skepticism. Russia is important if we're going to deter Iran from building nuclear weapons. We need Russia in a fight against global terrorism. Russia has vast energy supplies, including that pipeline across Georgia, the three pipelines, the Axis transportation energy routes. And we want Russia to do something about loose nuclear weapons, nuclear proliferation. We want an arms control agreement with them. So what we need is to establish some red lines and baselines based on tough, aggressive diplomacy, not bellicose threats. We have very little leverage over Russia right now. We need to create that leverage. And Senator McCain, you know, he's making a lot of rhetorical, bellicose statements, but without any specific policy. What we need right now in Georgia is international monitors. We need to give access to humanitarian relief, access to the Red Cross with the displaced civilians. We need to get the Russian troops out.
Last Monday, you said this because Senator McCain, for a long time, has been saying Russia should be kicked out of the G8, the 8 major industrialized nations in the world. It should go back to being the G7. I'll play the little clip of what you said.
I saw Senator McCain saying that he wants to expel Russia from the G8, the industrialized nations. Well, that's only going to make matters worse. That's to the right of President Bush.
You still stand by that point?
Absolutely. The G8 is a group of industrialized countries meeting. The World Trade Organization is meaningful. The point I was trying to make is that Senator McCain wants to isolate Russia. That's the last thing we need to do. We need to engage them. If you isolate Russia, there's going to be more moves there towards radicalism, towards resentment. Look, they're a major power. They're acting irresponsibly. We have to stand fully with Georgia. But what we need is the European Union. We need NATO. We need allies to come across Russia and say to them, look, you've got to stop your expansionist motives. You've got to stop using oil as a political weapon. You've got to respect the territorial integrity of several of your former states, like Georgia.
So Russia should remain in the G8, according to you. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think that is much of a lever. What you want is Russia denied access to the World Trade Organization. You want Russia, the Europeans, not to give them that trade and security pact they want. We need ways to bring international public pressure on Russia to move forward and get their troops out of Georgia.
Should they be kicked out? Should they be kicked out if they refuse, if this ceasefire collapses and they keep those Russian troops in Georgia? At that point, would you start saying, you know what, maybe it's time to remove them from the G8?
Well, you use all possible levers. I don't think the G8 is a big lever. I think there are many others, but the point is that we need a unified effort against Russia, and we don't have it. We have limited leverage over Russia because of their enormous oil wealth, because we have, in many cases, snubbed them, and I believe with little justification. And what we need is a realistic, tough diplomacy, and this is what Senator Obama has said. He has been consistent in saying we respect the territorial integrity of Georgia. We want international monitors there. He said that from the very beginning. He has said we need to build a relationship with European countries and the EU to put enormous pressure on Russia, international public opinion. That's what we need, Wolf.
Right.
And what we don't have is any leverage now. So we just can't engage in rhetoric. You got to act.
The McCain campaign has been harsh in criticizing Senator Obama's initial response to what's been going on in Georgia. Senator Joe Lieberman last Tuesday said this. He said, if you read the statements from the beginning, Senator McCain and Senator Obama, one had kind of moral neutrality to it that comes, I think, from inexperience. And McCain's chief foreign policy advisor, Randy Schuneman, said this on Wednesday. He said, there's a depth of knowledge, a breadth of knowledge, and an extent of historical experience that doesn't compare between the two on Russia policy. You can't compare a 15-year historical record to 3 or 4 statements over the course of 15 months. I want you to respond to that criticism that Senator Obama showed inexperience, naivete early on in this crisis.
Well, Wolf, I totally reject that. Look, I've been to Russia. I've been to Georgia as UN ambassador. You know, what is needed now is the Edward Shevardnadze's in this kind of diplomacy. Consistently, Senator Obama said, we are on the side of Georgia. Russia needs to get out. We support the territorial integrity of Georgia. We need humanitarian access. We need international monitors. We need to go to international fora and build alliances to contain Russia. But what we also need is engaged diplomacy, tough diplomacy, smart and tough with Russia, which we have lacked because of our intensive preoccupation with Iraq. All our resources are in Iraq. All our attention is in Iraq. Right. And we've neglected the fight against global terrorism. Afghanistan, we've neglected our relationships in Europe. We've neglected to build solid eyeball relationships with countries like Russia and China. That's what Senator Obama is saying, and he would practice that tough diplomacy that is lacking, and that today we're nowhere. We have little leverage. A
couple of quick political questions, Governor, before I let you go. A lot of us remember James Carville, the Democratic strategist, calling you a, quote, Judas for endorsing Barack Obama as opposed to Hillary Clinton during the primaries. Yet today you're going ahead with 2 fundraising events in New Mexico for Hillary Clinton to help her pay off her enormous debt. Have you made up with the New York senator?
Well, look, it's not a question of making up. Senator Obama wants the party united. I want the party united. The Clintons have been longtime allies of mine. I know what it is to have a presidential debt. I have one myself. So we've put 2 good fundraisers together in Albuquerque and Santa Fe. A lot of Obama people, a lot of Clinton people. We're having a rally in northern New Mexico for Senator Obama, starring Senator Clinton in Hispanic northern New Mexico, where she was very strong. So the Clinton-Obama camps are coming together, and they're coming together in political, fundraising, and many other areas.
Are you comfortable that her name is going to be placed in nomination?
Well, yes, I am comfortable now because it's going to be placed in nomination in recognition of the 18 million votes that she got, her historic candidacy. But then she is going to pledge her delegates to Senator Obama so that it's a unanimous selection. That gives me comfort. Until that had been worked out, I was a little uneasy about there being just a roll call without any transference of that support to Senator Obama. But the point is, the party's united. We're coming together. You know, I'm going to welcome Senator Clinton. She's a longtime friend. She ran a great race. And the Obama team is doing everything we can to bring all her supporters to the fold.
Governor Richardson, we'll see you in Denver next week. Thanks very much.
Thank you.